The most exhausting time of my life was when my brother and I had quit our jobs and went all in on a robotics startup. Hardware, physical automation, the whole moonshot. And we were grinding. No gym, no social life, barely sleeping. 80, sometimes 100-hour weeks. We wore that like a badge of honor. And if you'd asked us at that time, we would have told you we were killing it. We were so busy, always building, always pivoting, always fundraising, always doing something. But here's the thing we couldn't see from inside that grind. Busy and productive are not the same thing. In fact, they can be opposites, because most weeks, if you'd forced us to name 3 meaningful things we actually moved forward, real, tangible, business progress, we would have struggled, okay? We were sprinting on a treadmill, sweating like crazy, going absolutely nowhere. And I bet some of you are doing the exact same thing right now. So let me ask you this. Think about the most productive person you know. Not the busiest, the most productive, okay? I bet that person isn't grinding 16 hours a day. They're not posting about their 4 a.m. alarm. They probably leave work at a reasonable hour. They always seem to have time somehow. And yet, their results are better than yours. Their life is more together. Their stuff actually ships. What's going on there? Well, they figured out what doesn't matter and they stopped doing it, okay? That's it. That's the whole game. Not doing more, doing less, but the right less, okay? Now, that sounds simple, but it's not. Because elimination isn't passive. It's not, okay? It's not being chill. It's an active, uncomfortable, ongoing practice of looking at something that seems important and saying, no, not this, not now, and maybe never. It means turning down meetings that could be useful, leaving emails unanswered, watching other people hustle on things you've deliberately decided aren't worth your time, and just sitting with that discomfort and being okay. And here's the math that should keep you up at night. 80% of what you do on a daily basis barely matters. I'm serious. The meetings, the emails, the tasks, the productive research, the busy work dressed up as strategy, the vast majority of it doesn't move the needle on the one thing that should actually matter to you right now. 4 out of 5 hours gone, spent on decoration. So the person who looks lazy doing 3 things while you're doing 13, they didn't do less work. They just cut the 12 things that don't matter and went all in on the one that does. They're not lazy. They're strategic. And honestly, you might not be as hardworking as you think. You might just be reactive. And if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, but I don't even know what my one thing is, that is the problem, okay? That means you're so deep in the busyness trap that you can't even see above the walls anymore. Finding that clarity should be your number one priority before any tactic, any system, and any optimization. Okay, so if the math is this obvious, why don't smart people do it? Why do ambitious, self-aware, motivated people keep stuffing their days with things that don't matter? Because, and this is the part nobody talks about, busyness is an identity, okay? I'm the hard worker. I'm the grinder. I'm the one who never stops. That's not a schedule. That's a self-image. And if you take away the grinding, who are you then? Confronting that question is way more terrifying than another late night at the desk. So here's what's really happening when you fill every hour. The doing protects you from evaluating. As long as you're busy, you never have to face the uncomfortable question, am I even working on the right things? Is this direction correct? Is this ladder leaning against the right wall? Busyness is like a shield, okay? And it works. You can go years. I mean, literally years. Running full speed without ever stopping to check. Because motion feels like progress. The exhaustion, it feels like evidence. I'm working this hard, so obviously what I'm doing must matter. No, you're just tired. That's not the same thing. And it's not just work. Look around. The person who's always too busy to think about whether their relationship is actually working. Or the person who fills every quiet moment with a podcast or a scroll. Anything to avoid 20 minutes alone with the question, is this the life I'm actually building on purpose? I'll tell you exactly how this played out for us. During that startup phase, we were pulling 15-hour days, and we genuinely believed every single hour was necessary. But looking back, a huge chunk of that was us trying to outrun the feeling that our approach was fundamentally flawed. It's so much easier to stay busy than to stop, sit down, and face that. We didn't need more hours. We needed the courage to ask a different question. So maybe the reason you can't stop being busy isn't that you have too much to do. Maybe being busy is just the only version of yourself you know how to be. Let me show you what the other side looks like. After the startup, we partnered with an e-commerce brand, and we tripled their revenue in just 6 months. But here's the part that matters. We weren't working more. We were working way less in comparison. We actually had a life again. What changed was clarity. Brutal, ruthless clarity on the 2 or 3 things that actually moved the needle for that business. That's all we did, nothing else. Same 2 people, same talent, same work ethic, fraction of the busyness. Tripled the business. That's subtraction in action in order to focus on the important things. When Steve Jobs came back to Apple in '97, the company was making over 350 products. Printers, monitors, dozens of Mac variations, you name it. They were bleeding money. And his first move wasn't to innovate or hire or launch something new. He killed over 300 products, narrowed the whole company down to just 4. Everyone thought he was insane, but that's what produced the iMac, then the iPod, and then the iPhone. He said it himself, I'm as proud of the things we haven't done as the things we have done. One of the biggest companies in the world was built on doing less. And for that, what you need is ruthless clarity. So run an audit and make the cut in your own life. Take your last week, everything you did, and now be brutally honest. Circle only the stuff that really pushes your most important priority forward. Not your second priority, not your third. The one needle mover. How much survives? For most people, 20, maybe 30% max, and that's a generous estimate. The rest is either maintenance or noise that's dressed up as work. Now cut the rest. And yeah, your busyness identity might kick in, having FOMO and not wanting to stop those things. That discomfort is actually a signal that you're on the right track. And very important, before you add anything new to your schedule, a task, a project, a commitment, ask one question. If this were the only thing I accomplished this week, would I be satisfied? No? Then it's clearly not a top priority. It's most likely just a distraction in a priorities costume. And you have to protect your best hours and your life against such shiny objects, because here's why this actually matters. Beyond productivity, beyond just getting stuff done. The real cost of staying on that treadmill isn't wasted hours. It's waking up at 45, having been busy your entire adult life, and realizing none of it went where it should have. Lots of motion, no movement. The story of a life spent reacting instead of choosing. And look, the scary version of your future isn't the one where you go after something big and fall flat on your face. That's fine. It happens. You recover. You learn. You go again. The scary version is the one where you were too busy with the wrong things for too long to ever take a real shot at the right ones. That one doesn't recover. It just falls through the cracks to be forgotten forever. So, what are you going to stop doing this week? Not start. Stop. Stop it. Make it specific. Make it real. And if you're someone who knows what they should be doing, but keeps getting stuck in your head instead of actually doing the important stuff, go watch this video right here. It will show you exactly why that keeps happening and how to break out of that paralysis. See you in the next one.